As the year comes to a close, the garden chores continue to linger. I have a freezer full of hot peppers just begging to be turned into hot sauce. That will be a video for another time. Seed starting is right around the corner, and my popcorn keeps staring at me every time I pass by. Last year's popcorn was shelled by hand, and it took several movie nights on the couch, painstakingly removing each kernel one by one. The task was tedious and not one I was looking forward to this year. I tried a hand sheller that was promising, but the cobs were slightly too thin, making it just as difficult as doing it without. After telling my dad about my procrastination, he disappeared into the garage and returned with a box claiming that this should help. To my surprise, I opened the box and out came a heavy contraption that looked promising. He ordered it a few years ago, but hadn't had time to try it out yet. Don't tell him, but he's not getting it back. I have this hand crank sort of machine that's going to help me to take all of the corn off the cob for our popcorn, but I need to make some sort of stand for it to be on. So I've got all of this scrap wood that I'm going to use. I'm going to cut it up and just make really simple legs that I can attach this to. Every year I have tried to grow sweet corn, it has ended in disaster. Okay, I'm being a little dramatic. The first year we waited all summer, then the day finally came to harvest our bounty. When we arrived, we quickly discovered that raccoons had devoured our hard work. Raccoons love corn, particularly fresh, sweet corn, and are notorious for raiding gardens just before it's ready for harvest. We still had a few ears that weren't completely ransacked, but a disappointment nonetheless. The next year I was bound and determined to have a good yield, and planted even more than the first year, but it still wasn't our year for corn. The corn grew amazingly, and the week came to harvest, but I wasn't able to get into the garden. Work got the better of me, and I put off harvesting for a few days. Peak freshness lasts only 1 to 3 days, so harvesting immediately when silks are brown and dry and kernels are plump and milky is a must. Overripe corn becomes starchy and tough within a few days of peaking. I missed my window, and yet another year slipped through my grasp. Frustrated with the first 2 years, I decided to change a few variables. Surprisingly, I didn't have any issues with raccoons at my parents' garden in the country. Maybe because their house is surrounded by cornfields and the raccoons had enough to choose from, or the motion detecting floodlights kept them scared away. Either way, I decided that was the place for growing corn. The second variable to change was timing. I am a nurse, and healthcare hours are always changing. With surges in patients, some weeks might be full of overtime, while the next week might have days being sent home early. For that reason, I knew I would not get a reliable window for harvest. My solution? Popcorn. It can stay on the stalk until it dries out. It doesn't have a narrow window for harvesting like the 1 to 3 day window of sweet corn. I tried my first planting of popcorn in 2024, and it was a success. I was able to prioritize other vegetables while I just let the corn die back. I wasn't rushed, and it could be harvested when I was ready. Another positive is that once I harvest it, I don't have to process it until I'm ready. It's January, and life has finally slowed down just enough that I'm ready to separate the kernels from the cob. Once I got the hang of it, it was pretty easy to use and left minimal kernels on the cob. And yes, I stand by my previous statement. My dad is definitely not getting this back. A few adjustments here and there, and it was time to call in the professionals. The final step in processing grains like popcorn is winnowing. This is when you use the wind to blow a current of air through the popcorn in order to remove the chaff. The chaff is those little particles that come off the cob with the kernels that you don't necessarily want to eat. This year I bought gourmet mushroom popcorn from Harris Seeds. These are advertised as mushroom type variety with large kernels that pop into ball and mushroom shapes. Last year I grew robust popcorn from Johnny Seeds. They are advertised as producing a popcorn in which a high percentage of kernels pop, producing tender popcorn. Honestly, they're both delicious. I would like to try to make some caramel popcorn with the mushroom-shaped popcorn, but if I had to choose, I would probably continue to grow the seed from Johnny's in the future. It just has a more traditional shape and feel to it.